So all skin folk ain't kinfolk. Period. So my name is KD and welcome back to my channel, LifeAsKD. On today's video, I'm going to be talking about how I had to fight for my son and the injustices that black women face in the medical industry and just being a young black mother in general. So if you're interested in this topic, then keep on watching. So guys, I know some of you may ask if you love my shirt or dig in my marketing right now. This shirt was made by a small black owned business on Instagram. Her name is Ida and her company name is Pressed by Ida. I will put it across the screen as well in the description box below. Go support her company. The quality of the shirt is good. The decals and how she put the stuff on my shirt was done really well. Yes, I love it. It says LifeAsKD with the YouTube button and subscribe. Go hit her up, guys. Okay, guys, so I wouldn't say I'm anti completely vaccine, but against vaccinations, but I am very cautious on what vaccinations I allow my children to get. So my son is 10 years old and his name is Christopher. We call him CJ. When he was about 2 years old, after getting his 2-year-old shots, I would say shortly after, I started realizing that he was having seizures. And when people think of seizures, they think of like shaking, but seizures could be so, what's the word? Seizures can go undetected, depending on the type of seizure that you have. Like, he just used to like stare and blank out, and I would talk to him and he wouldn't understand what I was saying. I took him to the doctor, and the doctor basically stated, basically just dismissed my claims. Like, I was like, oh, you know, I was looking online and I saw, and the nurse was just like, you looked on Google? And I was like, yes, I looked on Google. And she basically was just like, you looked on Google, and just tried to dismiss my claims as if I was self-diagnosing my son. And granted, I know Google could make you feel like you're dying, even when you're not. But I can say, in my opinion, that if you research on Google correctly, it can give you insight of problems that you may have. And, you know, it's going to give you the more severe options and the less severe. So with everything I typed in on Google, it kept on bringing me back to seizures and epilepsy and things of that nature. So I took my son. He had an exam. They put him to sleep to listen, to see how his brain go. I think was that an EKG, if I'm not mistaken. Whatever. They put him to sleep. They put the patches on his head and was listening to like the signals to see if he was having any seizures, and then they did one while he was awake. This was when I lived in New York, and basically it came back that his brain was functioning absolutely fine. There's no issues. Okay, so I dismissed it. He started preschool. There was no issues in preschool. I always knew my son was very intelligent. Around first grade, we was in Colorado at this point, and his teacher was just like, you know, he zones out. I asked a question, he doesn't answer. But she didn't think that he had seizures. She said, I think he has ADHD. And I was just like, I used to teach, and I also am very knowledgeable about the different diagnoses that kids can have, because I worked with kids for such a long time. And I was just like, I don't see him having ADHD symptoms. And, you know, basically she tried to say like I was in denial. Like, you know, it's okay if he does have it, just get him tested. He can get on medications and blah, blah, blah. And I just simply told the teacher, look, I'm not one of those parents that's in denial that if their child has something. I don't want to know. I said, if my child have ADHD, I'm going to love him with ADHD. However, I knew in my heart that he did not have ADHD. So, you know, I took him to the doctor. His pediatrician out here, they ruled out ADHD, which I already knew. So I'm like, what's to no surprise. She gave me a referral to Children's Hospital out here in Colorado, to the neurology department so they can look into my claims. So I went back to his first grade teacher and I was like, listen, the doctor said he doesn't have ADHD, and the teacher was just like, oh, I didn't fill out a form, thinking that I didn't take him, because normally, you know, when you take your child to be evaluated, you usually fill out a questionnaire, the parent usually fill out a questionnaire, and then a doctor exam. the pediatrician didn't ask for the teachers to fill out anything. So she felt as if that, you know, I wasn't completely honest with the doctor. I told the teacher straight up, hey, where do we go from here? Because if I said, the doctor said he doesn't, but in your mind he do. So even if he do, I'm not putting myself on medication. So where do we move from here? And, you know, she had an attitude and whatever. I had an appointment with Children's Hospital. You ever know when you're going to go see a specialist, it can take a long time. So it was like a couple months later, he went in to see the neurologist at Children's Hospital. And I explained to her that I was like, I think my son is having seizures, but not to the point that an untrained eye will see it. She was like, hey, tell me more. And I was like, ever since my son was 2 years old, after his 2-year vaccinations, I seen that he was acting very different. And I said he had tests done in New York and it was dismissed. I asked my mother, my mother-in-law, my husband, you know, have they ever seen what I seen in seizures? At one point, I thought I was going crazy. And, you know, nobody's seen it besides my younger sister. She was like, no, I seen what you're talking about. He days off. So she did research, and with her research, it came back up that it was seizures as well. But it was a name in front of it. For mine, it just said seizures. So I don't know exactly what she put in different in Google search engine, but hers came up absent seizures. So then I started looking into absent seizures, and I was like, I think this is it. So fast forward again, back in Colorado, I started doing more research because I was tired of getting the notes home from his school about him not paying attention, him being distracted, and things of that nature. So I was like, you know, maybe it's better to go on an IEP, because I can allow him to take time out of the classroom to take his tests, and he'll be able to work in small groups. I didn't want him to get behind in schooling. So the teacher was happy that I brought forth that I wanted him to go on the IEP. They started the IEP process, and he was placed in the IEP. Now, simultaneously, while the IEP process and stuff was going on, he was still having appointments at Children's. I did research, and I found on YouTube how this father made their child go into a seizure on camera. So I said, you know, all this time I'm praying to God, like, you know, God, heal my child, help me, and bless the minds of the doctors that's working with me to figure out, even if it's not seizures, figure out what is wrong with my child and how do we get to a resolution. Okay, so I took a piece of paper towel, and I still have this footage, so I will insert it somewhere in the video up here so you guys can see. I still have the footage. I will never get rid of the footage, because that just reminds me of, you know, how important it is as a mom to advocate for your child. When people in the medical field feel like they went to school for this, so they know everything. At the end of the day, you go to school, you're taught certain things. It's not a one-size-fit-all. Yes, you're more knowledgeable maybe in that subject area than me, but at the end of the day, this is my child, and I know what's best for my child. So yeah, I'll put that footage up so you can see what I'm talking about. But basically, I had a piece of paper towel, and I had my son blow on the paper towel to the point of exhaustion. And it took a couple minutes. He had to blow. And then all of a sudden, throughout him blowing, he just dazed out. And then so while he was dazed out, I spoke to him, and I was like, CJ, blah blah blah, whatever I said, I can't remember off the top of my head. And he didn't hear me. And then when he snapped out the seizure, it probably lasted maybe a good few seconds, you know, 5 to 10 seconds. So I was like, hey CJ, did you hear what I said? He was like, no. Like, it's like he didn't know what I said. And I said, this is bingo. This is why he's having problems in school, because the seizures, to a not trained eye, it looked like you're at it in a daze. But you guys will see when you see the footage. It's like he wasn't present at that time, those few seconds that the seizure goes. So if the teacher was talking to him during those seconds that he had a seizure, it was null and void, because he didn't hear you. He didn't hear me.
You okay? Huh? CJ? You okay?
So I took that video to Children's Hospital, and the neurologist was just like, you know, I'm proud of you. Like, you advocated for your son. She said, how did you know to do this? She said, honestly, his EKG, I think that's what it is. Whatever the test that they put the things on the head to listen, to see the brain waves and things of that nature. She was like, his did come back normal, and I was like I felt defeated, honestly. I felt defeated, just like, I know these people probably think I'm crazy, but it was an older Caucasian lady, and she was just like, I was actually going to do the same thing for him today to try to get him into a seizure, because if he is having absent seizures, what you basically did in the video should do it. She said, how did you know to do it? I said, Google and YouTube. And she was like, wow. She was like, I'm really impressed, like, based on my age and how I carried myself. And she said, you knew what you was talking about. And that day, we spoke, you know, I cried like a baby, like, yes, somebody finally believed me. They don't think I'm crazy. And I was just like, what is the treatment process looks like? You know, I was very honest with her. So I'm not really pro medication. I don't want him to have to be on something for the rest of his life. But if that's something that he has to do, if there's no other options, then, you know, I'll do that. So basically, she prescribed me some medication for him, and she said usually absent seizures is common in kids and they outgrow it by 12 years old. She said he can take the medication for a while, and then I will see him on the first year. She wanted to see him a couple times for that year, so I think we saw her like 3 times that first year he was on the medication, to make sure he was still functioning right and everything like that, and make sure like no side effects of the medication was affecting him. So all was good the first year. And then she asked me like why he was taking the medication, because he was on a very low dose. She was like, have you seen any seizures? And I said, when he first started taking the medication, I was still seeing him daze out and have those type of seizures, but I haven't seen any recently. So we slowly like dropped him down off the medication, after going a period of a year without seeing any seizures. She was just like, let's drop it down and let's see if he outgrew it, since most kids that get absent seizures outgrow it. You know, she's like, you don't want to keep him on the medication too long. You don't want him to get dependent. Like, you don't want this to turn into like a serious form of epilepsy. And I will say because so this happened in first grade where he was put on the medication. So by third grade, we was taking him off the medication. And I want to say I changed his school the end of third grade. So 4th and 5th grade, he went to a new school, and my son did a 180, okay? A 180. No seizures. He plays sports with no problems. I don't have to sign no papers. He don't have to be have anything special, because oftentimes kids with like that get seizures and epilepsy, there's a lot of paperwork you have to sign when your kids want to participate in sports, and you have to be in contact with the coach. Like, I was like that helicopter mom. I had my bifocals on, because if y'all don't know, I wear glasses, and when he was on the field playing football or basketball, whatever the case is, like, I'm watching to make sure, you know, he doesn't have a seizure, fall out, you know, I don't know, but I just wanted to make sure my son was okay. So after that, all happened at the end of third grade. He had his last visit, and as she said, you know, when he was completely off the medication, he had any seizures? No. So that was right before summertime, and summertime that's when his seizures used to peak a lot. So she said, okay, watch him over the summer. If you see him have any seizures, then put him on this dose of medication, and then call my office and let me know. To God be the glory, he didn't have any more seizures. Like, God healed my son. And then I want to touch on some things. Throughout this whole time, definitely I was praying and asking God to give me the guidance. But I want to say, as a young mother and as a young black mother, don't let no doctor or nobody deter you or make you second guess what you think is going on with your child, okay? Because even though this was my first child, I knew something was wrong with him. Like, they always say, a mother knows. Like, a mother knows best. Like, I knew my child. Like, you know, he grew in me for the 9-10 months. Like, I know what's going on with my child, and I'm just so happy that I followed my heart and got him tested out. And because of all of this, situation, it made me very cautious of like what vaccines I give my kids. So my kids is not 100% fully vaccinated. I pick and choose what vaccines I want to give them. I do thorough research on what's in the vaccine, how it's going to affect my children. Is the vaccine linked to any type of epilepsy, autism? You know, I know some people may be, I don't believe in that, kids are just born with it. Well, I do, okay? I do believe that some vaccines, not for everybody, but for some people's DNA, trigger them to form other disabilities, okay? As a black woman, they preach and everybody say like, oh, you know, you want to get a black OB/GYN, you want to get black this. Listen, I'm all for getting who you want. But I learned this from dealing with the issue of my son. My son, when I was in New York, my OB was black. My whole team of doctors were black. And they dismissed me, okay? So all skin folk ain't kinfolk. Period. So his doctors here in Colorado are not black. They are Caucasian. And I don't care about the skin color. And I'm sorry, I may get a lot of dislikes on this video or people commenting their own thing. I don't care about that. At this point, I look for holistic doctors, meaning that I want you to be able to give my son the tests, or my daughter or me or whoever, the tests that we need. However, I want you to be aware that I am not pro-medication, and if there's a way to fix the issue without being medicated or being on some sort of drug, I want to try that way first. And my kid's pediatrician, I love her. She's so down to earth, you know, she do her due diligence every year, asks, you know, are we getting the flu vaccine or this vaccine? And when I say no, it's no. When I was in New York and the black nurse said, are we getting the flu vaccine? You know, I was 22, I had my son at 20. I was 22 years old. My son was about to, I was 22 years old. My son just turned 2. And I said, oh no, we're going to decline the, flu vaccine. And she was like, why? I said, well, my brother got the flu vaccine and it affected him horrible. I don't want that for my child. She was like, do you know, mom, because my son's birthday is in September. She was like, do you know, mom, it's flu season. Like, she made me feel like shit, like spoke down to me in such a way like, you say you love your son so much, I'm telling you it's flu season, vaccinate your son. But I stood strong in my beliefs. I am not vaccinating my son. And if you don't want to do what I want you to do, because at the end of the day, you may have went to school for this, but I pay you, that's how you have a job, okay? I pay my job insurance, I pay into that. So my insurance is paying you to allow you to have a job to be here. So I'm telling you that no, I don't want it. And if you can't honor what I want, then get me a new doctor. I don't want to speak to you anymore. That's it. I don't want to speak to you anymore. And you know, over the years, I was known as very hot-headed. I'm learning how to control my anger, and I can curse you out without saying a curse word now. And I consider that growth for a girl like me. It's like I don't have to call you every name in the book, like, you know, immediate defense mode like how I normally do. Like, I can use my education, because I'm educated as well. May not be in the medical field, but I have degrees as well. But I can make you feel like shit without having to actually say the word shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like, how dare you? Like, this is my child. You're here to honor my wishes. That's it. Get me a new doctor. I don't want to talk to you. Period. And she got me a new doctor. And then the doctor assigned a new nurse to handle the situation. But were they happy I wasn't getting a flu shot? No. But who are you to tell me what I can and cannot get for my child? That's why black mothers are more likely to die when giving birth than our white counterparts. That's an issue for me. Black children are more likely to get misdiagnosed or not diagnosed properly or at all to our white counterparts. Why is that? Because we are often dismissed. Our pain tolerance, if a black person say they're in pain, is often overlooked, because I don't know if we just look immortal or what. But I want to tell you guys, as mothers that's watching this video, even if you're a dad, you're a single dad, or you're just active in your child's life and you and the mom go to the doctors or vice versa, if you believe something is wrong with your child, do not stop. I'm going to say it again. If you believe there's something wrong with your child, Do not stop until you get the help and the answers that you need. We pay them. Okay? Our insurance is how they're able to get the salary and pay. You know, granted, they went to school and got the education, but don't make them make you feel like you stupid or you less than. Because at the end of the day, being a doctor or nurse is just like any other field. You go to school to learn that. Just like I went to school to learn in my specialty, I'm an expert in my subject matter. You can be an expert in your subject matter, but the key is you learned it. This is not knowledge that was automatically given to you from God from when you was born. You learned it. People can make mistakes and not one size fit all. And I learned that a lot, and that's what I love about my team of doctors here in Colorado right now. They understand not one size fit all. 2020, I've been seeing so much black women having kids and dying during giving birth, or something is going wrong during the birth. And we need to start speaking up, sharing our medical stories to help somebody else. Because I know there's another mom out there that's probably searching on YouTube or Google right now, trying to find out, is there any information on absence seizures? And guess what? My name is LifeAsKD, and I'm here to tell you that I have learned so much about absence seizures. The situation opened not only my heart, but having my son at 20 years old and him going through what he went through, it changed my way of thinking. You know, as a mom, we always think like, oh, I want my child to come out beautiful with 10 fingers and 10 toes. And yes, I still want that. Every parent wants that. But that's not the most important thing. That's the least of your worries. Because, yeah, they come out 10 fingers, 10 toes. Oftentimes, you don't know a child has any type of medical disability or learning disability until they're school age. And that's a problem, because during their, you know, learning toddler ages, they could have been in therapy addressing those issues. If any of you guys have any questions in regards to absence seizures, the IEP process, how to advocate for your child to get on one if the school doesn't want to get you on one, I am more than welcome to answer any questions. You could drop them down in the comments, or you can email me or hit me up on Instagram. I'll put my Instagram across the screen. Follow me, guys. Follow me on Instagram. I respond to all my messages, and I'm more than able to help. I just want you guys to know that my son is a walking testimony. He's 10 years old, in the 5th grade, and in some subject matters, he's either performing on grade level or above grade level. Do you hear what I'm saying? On grade level or above grade level. When he was in 1st grade and they was telling me my son is behind grade level, even in 3rd grade. It was at one point my son was in 3rd grade and the teacher said that you know, he can't read. He's reading on a 1st grade level. I said, well, I don't know what's going on with you and what's going on in this school, but my son can read. I work with him at home. I don't know if he doesn't feel comfortable to read here, or what. I can't say what I know my son can do, why that's not translating on paper, but I can tell you that my son is very knowledgeable. And they was like, well, I'm not saying that he's not, because he has a great vocabulary. So where do you think he get the vocabulary from? Out of thin air? Clearly we reading and working on it at home. You just don't think because I'm black and just assume like, oh, I don't do anything with my kids at home. That's ignorant. That's an ignorant way of thinking, and I'm done. I feel like that's why my son had an issue with social media. Like, he's just starting to come around and don't care about me posting him. But for a long time, he did not want me posting him on social media. So I would ask his permission before I post him. He didn't really want me to post him much on social media. He used to stutter really bad, and he went through some self-esteem issues. And as mothers, we need to wake up and see what our kids are going through, because so much kids nowadays are committing suicide. They're committing suicide because they're struggling, and their parents and the people around them are dismissing it. No, I'm not that parent. I'm gonna validate his feelings, and when he's feeling sad, I'm going to address it. I remember at one point, my son said, you know, Mommy, I wish I could be as smart as you. And I said, well, you're going to be smarter than me, and you're just as smart. You have to believe in yourself. And as a mom, that broke my heart that my son felt he was stupid due to the things that teachers were saying or conversations that he heard, when I know he's the most intelligent little boy that I know. He carries himself so well. He's so handsome. So well spoken, like how goddamn dare you. And granted, not all the time I went to school and was all educated. Sometimes I had to go to school and get a little rah-rah, you know. Everybody always say I can go from 0 to 100 real quick, and that's exactly. I go to school, I try to talk nice. Hi, how you doing? Da, 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 you know, put on that professional voice. And if I feel like you're undermining me or talking to me as if I'm stupid, then you're gonna get hit. Bitch, I told you, and that's it. And that's it. And so, that's the nice stuff go out the window when it comes down to my kids. I always tell people, if you ever hear that I went to jail, it's because my kids. Because you mess with my kids, to me, you're asking for a death sentence, okay? It's just certain things I'm not going to allow you to say and do to my kids, period. And I don't care who you are, you know, all bets are off when it comes down to my kids. Okay, guys, I want to thank you guys for watching this video. And if you made it to the end, drop a red heart. Drop a red heart if you made it to the end of this video. I want to thank you guys for watching and coming back to my channel every week. I really appreciate it. And if you are watching and you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? It's free. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram as LifeAsKD. It is down in the description box. I love you guys. Happy Christmas and Happy New Year's. Happy holidays if you don't celebrate Christmas, you know. And if you do, just always remember, Jesus is the reason for the season.